what we want to talk about right now is the importance of our defensive backs in coming up to stop the run play. Obviously, the main thing to the 6-2 defense is we want to stop the run. We believe that this team offensively is going to run the ball the majority of the time, and we don't have to worry a whole lot about the pass. But the first responsibility of this guy has got to be don't get burnt on the pass play. So first of all, when the ball is snapped, he's got to start his back pedal. He's got to pick up the quarterback. He's got to find out if the quarterback handed the ball off or if he's dropping back so that he has to go into pass coverage. Once he recognizes that that guy's handed the ball off, he's got to first of all get this guy off of him who's going to be coming out to try to block him. He's got to stay low, get into him, shed the block, and then he's got to come up as hard as he can. Once he gets up to the line of scrimmage and he can get involved in the play, he's either got to do one of two things. Break down, explode in, and make the open field tackle, or two, he may have to come in and help a teammate out and maybe get a strip, cause a fumble, and finish off the play. So it's very important for our defensive backs to be able to read, shed blocks, come up and make tackles. Now our safety that's back, he's probably not going to make a whole lot of tackles in the run game, but he still has to find the ball and come up and try to help out.
Coach Rudy, Big Ten alumni, let's talk about the position of safety, one of the most important positions on the defense. So, which safety are you? Are you strong safety? Do you like collisions? You like hitting people? Can you catch a football? Those are two things that are very important to that position. Do you understand run support? Do you know how to tackle? Are you in shape? That's what a strong safety is. There's a strong safety and a free safety. Which one are you? Strong safety, let's go through the characteristics. You have to be able to really, really have collisions. You have to love collisions. You have to love hitting people. Football is a game of controlled rage. You have to really be aggressive as a strong safety. You're going to make a lot of tackles with guys running the ball, and you have to play pass defense. Occasionally you'll have the chance to intercept the ball. Can you catch the ball? Is that what you can do? Free safety. Free safety is the coach on the field. Let's talk about free safety. Free safety is called the coach on the field. Free safety is a guy that understands personnel, what the other team is doing, the down, the distance, has a feel for the flow of the game, is in touch with the tendencies of the other team, and understands the position that they must be in the coverage and in the defensive scheme. You have to be able to tackle people. You're the last line of defense between the ball carrier, whether it's a running back, a quarterback, or a receiver, and the goal line. You have to be able to tackle people. As far as pass defense goes, you're the deepest guy. Nobody gets behind you. You got to make a play on the ball. You make people pay for coming over the middle. Which one are you? Are you the coach? Are you capable of understanding schemes and mechanisms? Do you understand personnel, downs, distance, situations, tendencies? Or are you just an animal, somebody that wants to tear somebody's head off? Are you a strong safety or are you a free safety? Which one are you?
All right, for a defensive back, there's a classic mistake that's always made when you've got a situation, you've been outrun, and the receiver's going for a deep route. He's already got a gap on you. What do you need to do? The worst thing you can do is turn and look at the ball while you're running to the receiver. The first thing you've got to do is get to the receiver, because if you're not where the receiver is when the ball gets there, you don't have a chance of making a play anyway. So as you realize you're in a situation where the receiver's got a gap on you and the ball has been launched, the first thing you've got to do is lower your weight and make sure you're in a dead sprint to catch up with that receiver. That's going to ensure that you have a chance to stop the play in some way. Once you get to that receiver, you don't want to immediately turn and look at the ball, because you don't know where it is and you've got to keep up with him. So we do something called swatting the flash. That means you've got to run with that receiver, and the moment you see his hands go up, you've got to put your hands inside of his. Or the moment you see him jump, you've got to go up with him, and you've got to get between him and the ball. That's the best chance you've got in that situation. All right, we're talking about turning with the receiver. Now you've been in your back pedal and the receiver is threatening your cushion and he's pushing you, and now you've got to make a decision that you've got to turn and be ready to run for a deep route if you need to. The most important thing in doing that is if you're going to turn and open up your hips, you got to remember that the receiver is trying to get your hips turned one way or the other. So if you're going to turn, you've got to make sure that you turn in a position that you can correct the mistake if it is a mistake that you've turned. If you're high like this when you turn, and now you've got to go back this way, or you've got to go back any direction, it's going to take you a lot longer because you have to drop your weight and then make a decision. So you want to make sure that when you open your hips and you turn low. So if I've got to come back here, I can still make a 1-2 return. If I turn here and I got to go here, I can still make a 1-2 return. If I'm here, okay, reading a play is a safety. The most important thing as a safety in football is to read through the tackle. The tackle is going to tell you exactly what's going on. Being a safety, most of the times, more times than not, you're going to be involved in the run process. So what's going to give that away is the tackle. If the tackle crosses the line of scrimmage, it's a run. If the tackle does not cross the line of scrimmage, it's a pass. Even if it's a delay, you're backing up, you're still true to the play because nothing has happened yet, because the tackle has not crossed the line of scrimmage. It's a quick way to get a read as a safety to know what's going on. It's important to be able to read three-step drop, and what that means is being able to determine whether it's going to be a quick route or a short route. If the quarterback takes a three-step drop, it's a short route. If he takes a five-step drop, it's a longer route. So what you want to do, if I'm lined up in front of a receiver, I want to be able to eyeball the quarterback and peripher the receiver, and I want to be able to see exactly what the quarterback's doing. So if the quarterback takes a three-step drop, I've got to shorten my steps and drop my weight because I know there's got to be a decision that's made quick, or else the quarterback's going to be sacked. Either the receiver's going to break off in one direction or he's going to take off. But now if I'm reading the quarterback and he goes past that third step, my eyes have to come from the quarterback to the receiver because now he's my read, because it's a much longer route and the quarterback's got a lot more time before he's running the risk of getting sacked.
When talking about making an interception, one of the biggest things is reading a receiver and not getting beat by that receiver. Now, a lot of guys will get themselves caught looking in the backfield too long, and if the receiver's coming out, and go by me, and if the receiver's coming out and I turn and I'm looking in the backfield, I'm going to lose where my receiver is a lot of times, and that's going to get me beat on a lot of passes. So what we want to do when we're reading the receiver going by us is I want to backpedal until he passes me, and then I want to open my hips and I want to run with the receiver. Now, when do I know when he's going for the pass? He will usually look up and he'll put his hands up to make that catch. Once I see him doing that, what I want to do is I want to stick my hands inside his hands and look back for the ball. Because if I don't look back and try to catch the ball, I'm going to get called for interference. If I just stick my hands up and go into him, that's going to be an interference call. So what I want to do is look for him to raise his hands, put my hands in, and then find the ball and try to pick that ball off if it's coming over top of us. So that's one good way that you can cover a receiver, especially on a deep route. We're still talking about interceptions here, and one thing that's important when you're trying to make an interception, you've got a good read on the ball, especially if you've got either a big receiver or a big defensive back. One of the things that's going to come into play a lot is a jump ball situation in making an interception. Especially if you've read the pass and the quarterback throws it a little under, then you're going to have a jump ball situation. The two things we want to remember: first of all, we always want to meet the ball at its highest point. We talked about in a previous clip, you don't want to let the ball come to you, you want to attack the ball. So in order to do that, you've got to set, you've got to get a good base, then you've got to jump up as high as you can and meet that ball at its highest point. Don't let the ball come down to you. The other thing you've got to make sure and not do is, if I'm in a jump ball situation with this guy, there's a couple things I can't do. One, I can't push him out of the way when I jump up to get the ball. That's interference. The other thing I can't do is, as I'm going up, I can't hold his hands down from catching the ball. It's got to be an even jump ball situation where I go up for it. All right, so this is our defensive guy. Here's our wide receiver. They're going to go out just a few yards and show you what it looks like in a jump ball situation. Okay, go ahead. Throw it up. And there you can see, in that jump ball situation right there, both of them had just as much right to go up and get the ball as the other one. They didn't interfere with the pass. and they met the ball at the highest point, and then it's kind of the best guy comes down with it. So that's the way that we don't interfere, and then we go up and meet the ball at the highest point when trying to intercept the ball. We are talking right now about interceptions. One of the key ways to make an interception is once you've read what the offensive player is going to do, you then try to pick up the quarterback and where he's passing the ball to. The best way to intercept a pass is you've got to come underneath the route. If you try to go over top of the route, chances are the receiver's going to catch it 9 chances out of 10 instead of you. But if you jump the ball, we call it jumping the ball, and getting underneath the route, you're going to be able to pick the ball off a lot more. And this is what it looks like when we walk through it. We're going to have the receiver come up, he's going to make an in route, and I see this route. Now stop. Once I pick up the route, the next thing I need to do is look at the quarterback and what he's doing and try to read his eyes. Once I see that he's made a commitment to this guy, I'm going to kind of bait him a little bit and play off of him. Once I see that the quarterback's about to release the ball, I'm going to come up underneath and make the interception by jumping the route and coming up underneath of him. You can see that if I try to intercept it by going around and through, I'm either one, he's going to make the catch, but probably what's going to happen is I'm going to be called for interference if I come up or I try to come through the receiver. So I always want to jump the route. It can be the same thing if he's going on an out route. I can do the exact same thing, just come up and go on an out route. I can jump the ball here, and you see a lot of easy interceptions made right here and taken for touchdowns. So you really got to be careful if you're a quarterback not staring that guy down, because that's what people are going to do. They're going to jump underneath the route. It's a great way to make interceptions.